Hey everybody, and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how to create an awesome gallery on your main menu. Before I get started, obviously I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's subscribed. It really does make a difference for those people who subscribe and hit the notification icon are greatly appreciated. Also, an even bigger thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon. Your names will probably be running across the bottom of the screen as we speak. If you want to appear in my shout out bar, feel free to visit the Patreon link, which is in the description below. So let's get right into this then. So what we first need to do is we need to create a list, and we're going to call it gallery list with a capital L, I think. So we're going to say default gallery list equals, and then it's going to be a list, so we need to use square brackets. Now I've already created a folder and added some images to it, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the names of these images into my list. So we're going to create a string, and we're going to say gallery 00, comma, and then rather than messing around, we're going to just select that, use our Control-C, select these two, and then there we go, insert our other three images, so gallery 01, 02 and 03. Now as I said, there's various different ways that you can populate this list. This is just the simplest way for the sake of demonstration purposes. You could have a series of unlocked images which you then append to this list when they get unlocked in the gallery or whatever, but we can do that some other time. Right now we're just going to focus on this. Now the next thing we need to do is we actually need to put our gallery into our main menu. So what we're going to do is go into our screens.rpy file, and anywhere we can put it, but I'm going to go for putting it underneath the navigation and the main menu, and the game menu. I'm going to put it underneath that as well, so that we keep going down. So yeah, I'm going to put it above the save screen like this. And what we need to do is we need to give it a name. So screen, I'm going to call this pre gallery, because you can access it before the game is actually started if you want to. So remember to use your parentheses and then a colon, and then we're going to tag it as a menu. This just means that it can't be open at the same time as any of the other menus from the main menu. Now we're going to add an image, so just give it a background. So we need another image called gallery back. Then we're going to use another screen called game gallery. And then finally we need to add a text button, and that's going to be underscore brackets, and it's going to say return. And we're going to add a colon to the end of that, and then we're going to say style return button. This is just so that it matches the other return buttons in your main menu, and then the action is going to be return, like that. And that's all we need to do in the screens file, so we can Control and S that. So we're going to go into a new file, and we're going to create a new file, and we'll call this one gamegallery.rpy, and then we're going to create our screen game gallery. Just check that we got the name of that correctly. Control-C is what I meant to do there. Double click on that and then just paste it there so that it's guaranteed to be the same. Pop a colon at the end of that line. Now the first thing we want to do in this screen is, if a large image is selected, then display it. So we need to say if lightbox underscore image is not equal to nothing, then we are going to have to declare our image. lb image equals im.scale, Control C, pop that in there, Control V, and then we're going to make it 1280 by 720 so that it doesn't fill up the whole screen. And then we're going to create an image button, and the idle is going to be lb_image. The hover is also going to be lb_image. It's going to be in the middle, 0.5 like that. Then the white align is also going to be 0.5, and I will talk you back through this when I've finished it. Focus mask, don't need an equals there, true. And then action. And what we want clicking on the image to do is to remove it from the screen. So it's click to show and then a click to hide again. So we're going to say set variable lightbox image, and then we're going to set it to empty. So I'll quickly talk you through this. Then what we're saying is if an image has been selected, i.e. if this is not nothing, then we're going to set an image to be a smaller version of the image that's been selected, which is then going to be used as a kind of a lightbox on the screen. So what we need to do is we actually need to go back into our script file, and we need to actually declare this variable. So we need to say underneath our gallery list definition, we need to say default lightbox image equals nothing. That means that there's no image selected initially when we go into this gallery. So we can go back into our game gallery now. Now we need to decide what's going to happen if a lightbox isn't on display, and that should be fairly self-explanatory. We want the thumbnails to display. So I'm going to say else. So if the lightbox image is not being displayed, then we need to create a frame. Inside that frame, we need to say where it's going to be. So xpos 250 and ypos needs to be about 100, I reckon. Background is going to be none. And we need to have one sidebar there, which is going to be R. That means that if there's going to be a bar on the screen, then it's going to be on the right hand side. Now we need to create a area, and that area is going to be 250, 100, 1820 by 980. That's just defining the area that our box is going to take up in the screen. And then we need to create a viewport, give it an ID gallery. And we're going to say that it is draggable, and that it is going to be able to be moved by the mouse wheel too. Inside our viewport, oh, silly me, I nearly made a mistake then. Inside there, we need to create a grid. So we're going to say a VP grid, which is a combination of a viewport and a grid. We need to say that it has columns. I'm going to say 3. And spacing, I'm going to say 20. Now then, this is where the actual logic begins. So we need to say for Q in gallery list. And we're going to say lb_image equals, and this is going to be a scaled down version of that. And I've just realized that we made a typo up here. We need to make sure that that's a capital S, otherwise it won't work. Open brackets, and we're going to say Q for Q in gallery list. Yeah, Q and then it's going to be, I'm going to say 320 by 180 there. That's a reasonable size for a thumbnail image, I think. Now we need to create an image button. I'm going to say idle is lb_image. Hover is also going to be lb_image. And then we're going to set the action to set the variable lightbox_image. And we're going to set that to Q. There's a lightbox on display, image on display. In other words, if this variable is not nothing, then we will display the lightbox image. Otherwise, we're going to open a frame that takes up the area 250 by 100 by 1820 to 980. So that's going to be a box kind of over the right hand side, bottom right hand side of the screen. It's going to have a mouse wheel and draggable abled scrolling function if there's a lot of images inside it, and it's going to create a VP grid that's 3 columns wide with spacing of 20. We're going to go through our list that we declared in our script file, this one, and we're going to say we're going to create a thumbnail for each one. So one by one, it's going to create an image and it's going to put that image on the screen. Clicking on the thumbnail sets the variable lightbox image, this one, as the name of the image. It's going to populate this. So this is no longer going to be 0. So it's going to display Q, the item from the list that we've clicked on, as a 1280 by 720 copy of the image. Like that. Now we need to do is we need to come back into our screens file, and we actually need to add a link to this in our main menu. So we need to come back up to navigation. So main menu there, navigation's there, and I'm going to put it underneath the load button here. So what we're going to do is create a text button. Good Lord. Text button underscore, and it's going to say gallery, and it's going to say action is going to say show menu, and it's going to be the pre gallery. So the last thing that we need to do that I didn't do before is we actually need to create Q image, which means it's going to need a $sign there. I'm going to say equals, and then we need to say gallery / plus Q plus .jpg, and then we're going to change this to say Q image in there, and I think we'll do the same at the top here just to be sure. So we're going to say gallery, so that it's searching in the correct folder. Like that, and then when we run it, as you can see, we haven't got a gallery back image, but we could easily add one to the game, not a problem. And then we have a working gallery that when we click on our images, it brings up a larger version of the image, and then when we click on it again, it closes it, and there you go. And then when we hit return, it simply comes back to the main menu. I hope you found that useful. There's a lot of ways that that can be utilized to make the game unlock certain images when you achieve certain game states, or searches a directory for the images. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.